The first set of logical properties we'll explore are those that have to do with borders. With physical properties, borders have a top, left, bottom, or right orientation, with properties like border left or border left width. With logical properties, we don't know what direction our text will ultimately display. Therefore, we orient around inline and block properties. In this case, when thinking of horizontal left-to-right text like English, we can think about the top and bottom borders of our box as border block start and border block end, and the left and right borders of our box as border inline start and border inline end. We can also combine these borders into a shorthand unique to logical properties. If we want to use the border inline or border block properties, borders will appear on both the left and right, or the top and the bottom sides of the box. Likewise, rounded corners take on combinations of the start and end syntax to describe the corner, starting in the upper left as border start start radius, and the lower right corner as border end end radius. You'll find all of these border properties detailed in the Logical Properties document in your exercise files. In this challenge, you'll refactor the CSS provided to move from physical border properties to logical properties. As you look at each class in the CSS, consider how you might rewrite each border style to use logical properties. When you get to the class of Fred, write one logical property style for each physical property style. For the other three classes, you may use shorthand if you wish. Pause the video to take on this challenge. Here's how I solved this challenge. As you see here, we have absolutely no change in the way this page looks versus the way it did when we started. And that's because we've simply changed from our physical properties to our logical properties. So let's go through these individually. Starting here with Rex. Rex has the same border on all four sides. There's actually nothing to change here. The way you write it with physical properties and with logical properties is exactly the same because all four sides are the same. So you don't need to make any change. For Dolores, we had two styles that were here before, a border top and a border bottom. And now what we can do is write this most efficiently simply using the border block property. Border block will put that border on the top and the bottom of the box with just a single declaration. But if you wrote it out as border block start and border block end, that's totally okay too. Both of these will work just fine. For our third example here with bubbles, we have the same idea, two borders on opposite sides of the box, but this time it's on the left and the right-hand side. So likewise, you have similar kinds of answers here, but instead of border block, we're going to work with border inline. So border inline start and border inline end are two possibilities for this, or you can simply use the border inline property. And finally, as we get down to the Fred style here, this is a little bit more complicated because all of these properties are spelled out individually. Yes, you could absolutely combine these into shorthand to make these less lines of code, but I wanted you to get a sense of all of the possibilities that exist with border. So if you were to spell out each of the properties individually for your border, including the width, the color, and the style, you would need to spell it out this way. So border inline start describes the left-hand side of these boxes when we're working with a language like English. The border block end would describe the very bottom border of this box. And then we're going to add to that our width, color, and style properties to include that border. And finally here for your rounded corners, you can work with these in a number of ways. You could use the border radius property. You probably already know that from physical properties. You can use border radius with either 2 or 4 numbers in a shorthand, and that works great for logical properties. But if you want to spell out specific corners of your box, you need to use this terminology of border start start radius or border end end radius and so forth. The thing to remember is that with languages that are read from top to bottom and left to right like English, the starting corner, in other words, the start, is here in the upper left-hand corner, And the end corner, the end of both the block and the inline direction, is down in the lower right, exactly in the order in which you would read your text. So you would start in the upper left corner to read your text, and you'd end in the lower right-hand corner. And your border radius properties follow that exact same type of naming according to how that text is read.